Hello everybody and welcome to Off the Rack, the comic book review show where we talk about a comic book from last week and we recommend books that are coming out this week. Today's a bat-tastic episode because we're going to do not one, but two Batman titles that came out last week. We're going to do All-Star Batman #1 and Detective Comics #938 because there's two totally different, totally oddball, awesome Batman books that came out last week that everybody kind of enjoyed, so we're going to talk about those books independent of each other, and then give you our recommendations for comics that are coming out this week that we're looking forward to seeing. So let's get started with All-Star Batman #1, written by Scott Snyder with art by John Romita Jr.
That's right.
With some amazing colors by, I think his name was Dan White.
Yeah.
And damn, with those colors, really complimentary to John Romita Jr.'s art. It's hit or miss with Romita. The coloring really elevated it.
Yeah.
With inks by Danny Miki, which is worth noting because he's a consummate inker.
Right. That makes me question what the color's first name is.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
So, what were your initial thoughts on All-Star Batman #1? Ben?
It's a fun book, but frankly, I wasn't so on board with it. The jumping around timeline was a little weird, and I'm not entirely sure I'm on board with the story, although the premise of what they're doing with everyone basically hunting down to free Two-Face, I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I think it works in the Batman universe.
Tiffany?
It's fine.
Yeah. Anything else?
It's fine. Like, it's fine. You know what it is? And this is kind of unfortunate. I mean, like, who knows? This could turn around and be like, oh my god, this was a quintessential Batman story.
Right.
But right now, I feel like every time I read a Snyder Batman story, I'm like, yeah, but it ain't Court of Owls.
To read the Black Mirror, because the Black Mirror is almost as strong as the Court of Owls.
Okay. Maybe it's like one of those, like...
Divergence.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's all of the New 52 Batman, but then if Scott Snyder didn't leave the title...
Right, or like someone went back in time and the timeline skewed...
into an alternate tangent,
Yeah.
naturally.
Where Alfred's a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, where
Wow.
Alfred's a jerk,
And Batman is purple!
and married to my mother!
And they're working on a new idea. Also, and Robins are stupid and irrelevant, no one needs them.
And Two-Face has, like, hamburger face.
Yeah. John Romita is at the top of his game with this
my
book,
God,
so it
yeah.
looks so great. And Scott Snyder has written the quippiest Batman he's ever written in his life.
Yep.
This Batman is full of jokes. He's hilarious.
He should, like, cross over it with Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then they'd be really fun and happy. Ah, man, whenever they do that, I will be on board. But it's another episode. It's so weird that it's not outside continuity. If this were just straight up, if this was like Batman Europa, where it was out of continuity,
Yeah.
and in a very big bad way, where they're like, no, this is not in the New 52
It's just a
slash
story.
DC Rebirth. It's just a Batman story, whatever. And the fact is, I know what they'll tell you. They'll just say, it is, just treat it like it is.
Yeah, if it is for you, then it is for you.
Yeah, who cares?
And maybe later
And
on
it's
it will be.
Because we all read comics, and we all need to fit it in a thing, and like, I need it to fit, and if you're gonna make it fit, then make it fit. But don't tell me, like, it's in continuity, unless it isn't. So what did you guys think of the writing for this story? I mean, it's Scott Snyder's Batman, so it's, you would have thought that you knew what you were getting into. For
Yeah.
me, I was like, wow, that was not what I was expecting.
No, and I will, like, there's something to be said for that.
Especially given Batman Rebirth with him and Tom King.
Yeah.
That was just like, yeah, more of the same.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Yeah, like, he's completely changed his voice on Batman.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm a fan of it.
Right.
But there's, like, that's still a skill. Like, that's still a skilled thing to be able to do. To be able to take a character you've written for how many years.
Right.
And then to be like, I'm going to write it totally different.
Yep. It's cool.
That's cool. I don't know if I like it.
It's a hard shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, there are some aspects of it that work, and there are some aspects that kind of fall short.
Well, what were some of the things that didn't work for you as far as the writing goes?
Unfortunately, what didn't work for me were the villains. I was not encapsulated by them.
No.
Like,
You weren't, they
weren't
didn't
very
get
cool.
you.
See, I don't know, I liked the villains because I like that Snyder digs deep and he doesn't use villains that you are used to.
Yeah, right.
Like,
It's not Penguin chasing after
I
him.
like Killer Moth because I used to watch the Teen Titans like cartoon show.
Right.
I like Killer Moth. I like Firefly because I read Batgirl
Year one.
Year One, and I was excited to see him. And I think Two-Face should be used more often. I don't know if this is the right way to use him, but like that's cool. Like Snyder's like, let's use some people that we don't see very often,
Right.
and like put them against an A-lister.
And Black Tarantula, or Black Widow, or whatever it is.
Oh, that's Black Spider.
Yeah,
Black Spider.
I didn't know
Who
him
was
at all.
from New 52, Suicide Squad.
Right.
Kicked in the teeth from our back issues episode.
Right! Duh!
Which you can check out right there.
It's awesome. Yeah, I like the
The inclusion of all these grand characters.
I also like, and I mentioned this on the weekly poll, but I like the fact that they flipped the script and the bug world was chasing the bat instead of the bat chasing the bugs.
Because bats are natural predators of bugs.
And also they coordinated their outfits.
Well, I mean, that's just kind of their outfits.
Yeah, that was them being like, yeah, no, they both wear kind of armor and they fly.
Yeah.
And they both have antennae.
But yeah, that was very...
And the same mask.
Yeah, they do have the exact same mask. That was very Romita being like, okay, I'm going to save some time. But yeah, so, all right. I mean, Snyder's surprisingly different from his usual Batman.
Yeah.
It's just a question of, like, whether I can really want to read about that for more than a couple more issues.
Right. It's weird for me, a story that we're starting like off the bat where, comparing it to, ironically for me, I'm not comparing it to the previous All-Star Batman. I want to compare it to All-Star Superman, which is like this amazing quintessential, like...
boiling down of the entirety of Superman's career.
Right, and this could be that in a way because, like, Batman's always kind of fought for the people and he believes in the people. And now they're essentially proving him entirely wrong.
Right.
So, like, is he going to have a crisis of faith from this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like I said, this could be really cool.
Well, after that last page reveal, he's going to have a huge crisis of faith, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, okay, the last page reveal wasn't bad. The last page reveal was the next villain.
Was the next villain.
Which
no,
was
but I mean,
also hilarious.
Yeah. Also, by the way, there's a great backup by Declan Shalvey and Scott Snyder.
Yeah, the backup was great. I just wish they had done a better job of indicating that the story was over.
Well, because it's not.
Well, no, I mean, like...
Remember in Death of the Family, where it just kept going with a different artist? Yeah, that's what Snyder does. He's like, okay, I finished the story, but I still have about 8 or 9 pages left to do. What did you think of Romita's art? I mean, you were saying the action is pretty terrific. Romita's obviously working as a result, but did it work? Or is he falling short?
I think it worked. I don't think I've ever seen him better, personally. Yeah. Like, I know he's been around for a while, and I've seen plenty of the stuff he did, but I don't know if it's just... He's like, hooray, I'm drawing Batman.
Right, he hasn't drawn Batman for a while.
Right, and he's playing in the DC universe with the DC toy box, but then to put that colorist with him, like, it just took his art and it was just like, and now I'm going to make it a little bit stronger. Some of those moments when they're in the field, they're so painterly.
Yeah.
And, like, the coloring's really, like, weirdly beautiful considering what's going on.
Oh, no, yeah.
Like, it's so good. And, like, it's funny, Romita has such a very strong style. But there were moments where I kind of forgot about it in like a really positive way where I wasn't like, oh, this is just a Romita book, who cares? I'm like, wow, this is just really good. I thought it was really funny that we have this book where Batman is presented the opportunity by a friend, being Harvey Dent, to stop his alternate personality or the other part of him, Two-Face. Around the same time that Marvel presents us with Bruce Banner going to Clint Barton being like, you gotta stop me.
Yeah.
You gotta stop the Hulk, the other half of me. And I just feel like one is more successful. And I honestly think that the Batman Two-Face is just a little more successful. Unless you read that Accused thing. Which I did, and that kind of...
Accused was better, but like...
Yeah.
This works because it plays with the established foundation of Batman / Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Banner Hawkeye thing is like...
I just need someone who can kill me. Who is
Bendis,
that?
Yeah.
I wanted this, and so
Yeah.
I made it up. I do not use pre-existing continuity unless I wrote it myself.
Right, but kind of funny that both universes, and I don't think this is anything like anyone, being like copycatting or anything like that. It's just funny that two very similar ideas came out around the same time.
In two big books from the big two.
Yeah.
By the way, are we positive that like Harvey Dent is still being taken over and controlled by Two-Face, and the whole message to Bruce is just a ruse?
Oh yeah, I think it's a double cross.
I don't know. I'm really excited.
It's Two-Face.
That's the
Double
one.
cross.
The one. The one thing I'm really excited for is to find out just to see the end, which is just funny because like who isn't usually excited for that normally? Like I kind of like the journey.
Yes.
And I'm sure the journey will be fine.
The journey will be
but
neat.
I'm legitimately excited to see what Snyder puts at the end of this journey because reading Witches, like he can craft like a crazy, like scary mystery kind of thing, and I'm like that is in my head. I've already decided that's what's there.
Right.
Whether or not
That'd
that's
be very
true, I
cool.
don't know. It's the birthday boy.
Oh God, no.
All right, let's. Can we recommend this book? Is it good? Should they buy it?
Sure, but honestly, I would say waiting for the whole thing to come out.
I don't
Pick up the trade.
know. Like I don't know. Like we read 2 Batman books this week, and I liked one more than the other. But I'm willing to give this at least another issue or so.
Yeah.
I think if you're a hardcore Batman fan and you haven't read this yet, you probably should.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna keep reading it, but I wouldn't. I'm not gonna hard sell it.
Yeah.
That said, let's get into Detective Comics number 938. First of all, thank God they brought those numberings back. When I was a little kid, I'm like, can you imagine what it'll be like when they reach issue 1000? They really will reach issue 1000 someday.
No, they'll kill it before
soon.
that happens.
No, they won't. DC Rebirth, they're fixing it. They brought it back for that reason. This is the same issue. This is the same title since 1930 freaking 9.
Except not.
Detective Comics has been published since then.
But then they broke.
There was a long gap where they renumbered it.
I like to assume that collectors at home were like, God!
Oh, it's just a nightmare. Written by James Tynion IV, with art by Raul Fernandez and Alvaro Martinez. The interesting thing to note is the writer of this is James Tynion IV, who is a disciple of Scott Snyder. He was so to be trained by him. He's worked very closely with him and has like co-plotted some Batman stories. So Tynion IV is, in all essence, like connected to the Scott Snyderverse.
Okay.
But you look at Detective Comics and the story that has been going on. We just jumped right in the middle, but it's been an ongoing story where Batman was captured by this organization, and so the Bat family has to get him. And they established very early on, when they rebirthed everything, that the Bat family is like a team that isn't brought together by accident or anything like that. It's just, this is the team.
Right.
And it's like Batwoman and Red Robin, who I hate the name of, but at least Tim Drake's wearing the right costume. And you have a Spoiler and Cassandra Cain and Clayface, who's now been reformed and he works for the Bat family. There's a million characters in this book. That said, I think that they juggled them perfectly. You guys?
It's definitely a fun story. Jumping in the middle was rough because I had no idea what was going on, but the book was entertaining as fuck.
Tiffany?
I think that they definitely juggled all the characters, and I literally had no problem jumping. I didn't know anything about this, and I thought they did a good enough job
of setting you up.
It's like they knew, they're like, we changed the numbering back. More people might be coming on at this point, so it feels like they're still not necessarily doing the Stan Lee thing where you're just like,
every comic somebody's first.
Right, but I thought that they, like, this was one of those cool issues where it was almost like the beginning of the movie where it's the future of the present.
Yeah.
And then I could go back and read the rest. I don't know. I thought the characters all did a good enough job explaining kind of what was happening without beating you over the head with it.
And all the characters were fleshed out well enough for you to know who they were without having to get a major context. But how did Tynion IV do as far as story and scripting go?
Great. Like, I really liked it. I like Batwoman.
Yeah.
So, like, that was kind of cool to, like, have it be centered around her.
Yes.
Oh,
good.
no, I was going to say, like, I felt like everybody had their own voice.
Definitely.
Which I thought was cool. Even though I don't really know the rest of the characters all that well. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought it fit. And, like, Clayface was a total surprise.
Yeah.
And a delight.
And I have to assume that at some point he, like, forms his head into, like, a little cowl, right?
I hope so.
I'm not so sure, because when he was beating up those Bat soldiers, he was like, this is really cathartic.
I like seeing Batwoman work with the Bat family outside of terrible animated movies.
Yeah.
And, have a really strong presence.
Yes, and be cool and work with them without having been trained by Batman.
Yeah.
It's just solid. It's just fun. And this is the issue where they finally, like, all unite with Batman on the team, and you're like, yeah.
He's like, I didn't need you.
But
and she's like, shut up.
Shut the fuck up, Batman.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I just really dug it. What did you guys think of the art for this issue?
It was great.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, I just thought, like, the action flow, the story was it was competent. Just had fun. It's just a guilty pleasure of a comic book, but without, like, that guilty part. Like,
it was a pleasure.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
And it was, as much as it wasn't like a dense tome where we're trying to reform the genre. It's just a cool Batman story, and that's sometimes what we all freaking need.
Yeah, and I liked the artist's work on Clayface. That sounds weird, but, like, I thought,
well, that's where I think that's where artists really are the most excited, because they're like, Clayface can do anything. He is amorphous. I can draw anything I want right now.
Yeah, but you also have to, like, give him weight and texture, and, like, he has to feel like he's, like, there, and, like...
And he was massive!
Yeah.
That was great!
He's cool.
That's gotta be rough getting in a bat plane.
I'm surprised he doesn't turn into a car.
Everybody hop in.
Get in me!
No.
I'll walk. Gross. Can we recommend 938?
I think so. Like, I don't know, for me, I thought this was kind of a cool jumping on point.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just thought that, like, this was a place you could get on and still keep going forward, but still be intrigued enough to go and pick up the back issues.
Yeah. I think you got to read the whole thing. Just go back and get it all.
There
like,
you
when you go to the store to get it all.
And
or when you're online.
This issue convinced you to be like, go pick up the rest. Because
exactly.
If it's as good as this one, you're in for a treat.
That's right. Yeah. I can't wait. Yeah, I like to read the rest, because it's just a solid story.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. That was our review portion of Off the Rack. Now we're going to get into our recommendations. These are the books that are coming out tomorrow on Wednesday that you can pick up from your local comic shop or online. Ben, what's coming out this week that we can recommend to the folks at home that you're looking forward to seeing?
Okay, there's a book coming out that I am super excited about. Spawn Kills Everyone. It's a Spawn book! I think it's crossing Marvel and DC, so like,
What?
this is what I wanted to have happen when like Deadpool killed the Marvel Universe.
Right.
Like, I read that. Yeah. This is what I want, though. This is Spawn. He's badass. He's gonna be great. I'm so on board.
That's
so
cool.
Go pick it up. It's gonna be awesome.
Nice. My recommendation is from DC. It's actually not a book that's coming out this week, although I have to say Superman #5 comes out. Go get it. Is the trade paperback collection of Batman TMNT by James Tynion IV and Freddie E. Williams III. I recommended this book every time that it came out on Off the Rack before, and so I feel like it's fitting since it's going to be a trade. Pick up the trade. Read Ninja Turtles Batman. It's fantastic before you catch it on back issues in the future. So, because we're definitely going to do that book on back issues.
Nice.
But yeah, Batman TMNT, and if you get it, it will continue to embolden them to make maybe a crossover, which I think they're going to do again, a sequel of it, where they're going to cross over the animated TMNT and the animated Batman universes. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
This is all weird now because Ben recommended an Image book.
Yeah, but it's not indie.
Yeah,
That's
it's Spawn.
Just saying, it's weird.
Yeah.
Because I'm also recommending an Image book. I was gonna recommend a DC book, but you took
it?
that.
We're couch ending it.
Yeah, we're bookending it. Boom.
That's it.
Yeah.
Book ending.
Oh,
So
we're
now
on the
I'm
couch.
just gonna recommend Green Arrow because now you made it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All right.
That is coming out though. No, I'm gonna recommend a book that's coming out. It's a brand new #1, but it's a 1 of 6.
Oh, okay.
So you're gonna get a
So it's a
complete
mini.
story. Yeah, which is I always like that because
Yeah.
I'm like that means the writer had a beginning, middle, and end.
Yes.
And I know like more than likely it's gonna be completed. It's called Demonic.
Who's publishing this one? Is it
Image. It is
Okay.
Image. It's written by Christopher Sibella with art by Nico Walter and Dan Brown. Which made me chuckle a little bit. It's about a detective in New York who wants to protect his family at all costs, and so he sells his soul to the devil.
To protect his family?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I was like, that's funny because of how much you hate that concept.
Yes.
Thanks to another.
I just think it's so cliche at this
right?
point.
But essentially, it's like, well, like he's a like a hard hitting, gritty detective, and like, what is the cost really if your soul's already damaged?
Right.
So like, I'm like, that's cool because then like, there's something scarier in New York than crime.
Oh,
So I was like, that's neat. I like that kind of stuff, and the cover looks really cool. So
sweet.
it's just like a little mini.
Right.
So for those of you who like that kind of like hard hitting either crime or like noir or even supernatural, it could be for you.
So there you go, guys. That was our recommendations for this week. Go pick them up on your tablets or in your stores, and I look forward to hearing what you think. And we'll see you guys next time on another episode Off the Rack. I am Sal.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
Thanks a lot for watching, and keep on reading.